Hi, my name's Colin McMahon. 9 years ago, I fulfilled a lifelong dream and opened my comic book store, Pittsburgh Comics. Since then, it's been great. I've met lots of great people, I've read lots of great books, and I want to share that with you. Welcome to Comics Now. Hi, welcome back to Comics Now. I'm Colin McMahon. We are right in the middle of our Christmas season. Things are in full swing. We're through Black Friday, we're through local comic shop day and small business Saturday, and now we're into just the fun season of Christmas. We're buying gifts and gift cards and books and statues and toys and everything for people besides just the regular comics. It's a great time of year. There's tons of stuff coming in. I have a big reorder of the new animated Batman toys that have done great. There's a bunch of new statues coming out just this week, including a Joker that I know is going to do really, really well. So it's a really fun time to be in the store, lots of stuff coming in, lots of people coming in, which is always great, seeing a full store. I always enjoy that. So I have a lot of stuff coming up here at the store. The 12 Days of Festivus is one thing that I do to make things interesting. It's the 12 days leading up to Christmas. Instead of doing a 12 Days of Christmas sale, I just twist it a little bit and I do a different sale every day. So every day different things will be on sale. I'm going to try to even change it up from past years and make them a little different, a lot more fun. Ways to get people in the store every day to get something different. Also on Saturday, December 12th, I'm having a concert here. Adam Warrock, who's like a hip-hop comic book singer, where he takes kind of like hip-hop music and then does comic book related songs over it. It's a lot of fun. It's a free concert. The only thing that I ask is that you bring either a toy or canned food for donation. We'll give to the local food pantry or to Toys for Tots. So I'll pay for the concert and you can come in and handle that. From Marvel, we have the return of the all-new X-Men. That's the young X-Men team that they plucked, the original team from the 60s, that has been brought to the present and are trying to find their way in the crazy world where everything's different. Also Daredevil, hot on the heels of the hit Netflix show. We have a new Daredevil #1 that came out. Now a little confession, I sold out the day it came out. So hopefully I'll have more in, but that was the hottest book of this week. Vader Down is a new Star Wars story going through the Darth Vader book and the Star Wars book, where Vader is hunting Luke Skywalker and Luke is trying to investigate and learn more about the Jedi, and he's on a planet where there's a Jedi temple and he's there to learn, and Vader crash lands on it. So that's the Vader Down theme when he's being hunted while he's looking for Luke. Spidey #1 came out. This was a neat book in that it's not really in continuity. It stands by itself, but it's basically taking Spider-Man back to high school. So in the first issue, it kind of recaps his origin, and it has him dealing in high school with Flash Thompson bullying him and Gwen Stacy as his girlfriend. So it's nice jumping on point, a good place for younger readers or people who don't want to deal with all the continuity and everything that's going on in the other books and all the Spider-Man history. You just want a Spider-Man book, this was a real good one. Totally Awesome Hulk. I was a little dismissive of this one just from the name. It seemed a little aimed at a much younger clientele than most people, but it was really good. Basically, Hulk is gone. Something happened, and Bruce Banner Hulk is gone. And Amadeus Cho, who was tagging along with him and is the third smartest man in the world, has done something to become the new Hulk. We don't know yet what, but he's kind of teaming along with his sister and taking Hulk's place. The first one was very good. Frank Cho Art, who is an outstanding artist, is doing this one, at least for the first arc, so we'll see where it goes. But I wasn't excited about this one, but it was really good. Squadron Supreme is a new book, and this one is coming out and it's really spinning out of Secret Wars. The original Squadron Supreme was in the 80s. Mark Gruenwald, who was a big Marvel writer and editor, decided to make an analog to the Justice League. So in Squadron Supreme you have Hyperion and you have Nighthawk, who is Batman, and there's a Flash character and a Green Lantern type character, and he set it on a world where everything wasn't great. Things had really broken down and this team had to do it. He loved it so much that when he passed away unexpectedly, very young, when he was cremated and his ashes were put into a special printing of the graphic novel of Squadron Supreme. And I do have one at home because I'm one of those guys that has to have those interesting things. So there's a new book spinning out, and basically what happened for Secret Wars is all the different worlds were destroyed, and this is a team of survivors. Each is from their own world, and now they're on our Marvel Earth, and basically they'll do anything they can to protect it, and even using some pretty extreme means. So it's a team of people who don't really know each other, who don't really know the world, but they're committed to protecting this world because it's all that they have. Starbrand and Nightmask is a new book where Starbrand and Nightmask were originally New Universe characters. Marvel, back in the 80s, decided to try to create a whole new Marvel universe. And these are a couple characters from that Jonathan Hickman brought back during his Avengers run. So now that his run's over, someone, I forget who wrote this one, I'm sorry, but has taken these two characters and basically put them in college. And what happens when you take two characters who don't completely know their powers, are young, and put them in a college situation. So we'll see where this one goes. Weird World is coming out, and this one is also spinning out of Secret Wars, but Weird World was originally in the 70s, kind of a sword and sorcery fantasy kind of storyline. So they're bringing that back now, and that's going to be part of the regular Marvel universe. And what happens when a character is kind of dumped in this world of sword and sorcery when he has no experience or abilities of any of that. Amazing Spider-Man 1.1. They've done this before, where basically this lets them have a second Spider-Man book on the shelf with a completely different creative team, a completely different storyline. So it's just basically a second Spider-Man title, but they just happen to number them 1.1, probably 2.1. That's how they did it. One time they did it 1.2, so I'm not sure where number 2 is going. But it's just nice to have, if you don't necessarily like where the current storyline's going, you have an opportunity for a second Spider-Man book. Captain America Civil War Prelude. In case you didn't know, there's a Captain America 3 Civil War is coming out this spring. And this is a prelude to the movie, basically bridging between Captain America 2 and Captain America 3, and going to fill in some plot holes for you without giving too much away. All New Inhumans is the second Inhumans book that they have. What happened back at the end of Infinity, the Terrigen Mists were released all over the Earth, and that's where all of a sudden started transforming people all over the world. That's been touched on the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, and it's continuing now in this one, and this is how the Inhumans are dealing with it. This particular first issue takes place in Australia, where the mists have finally made it. And then so people are excited about the transforming, but there's also then people who are very much against it, and they're having to fight and protect the new Inhumans while also holding off the bad guys. Guardians of Infinity is a new Guardians of the Galaxy book where the current Guardians of the Galaxy meet the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which also were from the 60s and set in the year 3000. So these characters are all meeting together. Red Wolf is Marvel's venture into the old Westerns. Red Wolf was a character, well, he appeared back in the Avengers in the 70s, but recently in the Secret Wars event there was an 1872 book where Red Wolf was one of the main characters, and Native American hero in that book. And then in this one, all of a sudden he gets teleported, I guess is the best word, to the present. And how is he going to function in modern world? There's a Gwenpool special. A number of months ago, part of Marvel's theme variant for that month was variations of Spider-Gwen for all the different books. So you had the Ingwenable Hulk, and Dr. Gwenge, and Gwenverine, things like that. In the Deadpool book, it was Gwenpool. Well, apparently that was the most popular of all of them. It took off online and social media, so they decided to create an actual Gwenpool character. She's only appeared in the backups in a couple Howard the Duck books, but now she's getting her own special, and I believe that's coming out real soon. Scarlet Witch, who, if you saw the second Avengers movie, she was in that. She's been a long-time Marvel character. She's been part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and then she later joined the Avengers, and now she's getting her own series. So we'll see where that goes. Patsy Walker Hellcat is another character from long ago. She's from the original old Marvel romance comics. It was Patsy Walker, and then they turned her into Patsy Walker Hellcat and gave her powers, and she was in this book originally called The Cat. But now she's back. She also ties in with the Jessica Jones Netflix show. Her best friend in that is Trisha Walker. They didn't want to use Patsy for some reason. But so this is going to be telling stories of Patsy Walker Hellcat. Deadpool's getting a mini-series where they're reuniting Deadpool and Cable. They had a long run of books back in the early 2000s, and they're teaming them up again because, believe it or not, Deadpool's hot. There's a movie coming out in February, so we're going to be seeing a whole lot of Deadpool coming up. So that's about it as far as the new stuff from Marvel. DC has a little bit. We have Robin War, which has started. Basically, in Batman's absence, since he's now Commissioner Gordon in a suit, a bunch of youths have taken up the Robin, I guess, mantra, and they're going out as Robins to protect the neighborhoods. So what happened is there was an accidental shooting where a police officer was shot by a Robin by accident, leading the corrupt mayor to say that all Robins are now outlawed, and anyone who is even wearing an R or anything will be arrested on sight. So much so that the lead character of the book, We Are Robin, is arrested just for wearing red shoes. And this is a problem for all the other Robins, because you have Nightwing and a bunch of other Robins throughout history, and they're coming together trying to figure out what they can do to stop this, because it's corruption and what caused it and who's hunting the Robins, which is going on now. I believe it's just a December month event. It's going to go through all the different Batman books except for Batman. I know it's going to be in Detective and Grayson and We Are Robin, and probably Batgirl. So it's a nice little event, just going to wrap up in 1 month. So something, the number 1 issue came out. Very interesting. So this one's going to be good. Harley's Little Black Book is a new book that's coming out this month, and it's basically a bi-monthly Harley team-up. First one has her teaming up with Wonder Woman. The other thing that they're doing with this is they're doing Harley Little Black Book variant covers for a bunch of the books. 15 or 20 different titles are getting special variants that are black bagged, because in each bag there are 3 different variants for each of these books. There's either a pencil sketch, a black and white, or a full color cover of these. And the artists they got on were fantastic. We've already had J. Scott Campbell Harley. We had Bruce Timm doing a Green Lantern. I know coming up is Alex Ross Batman, and just the artists, I remember seeing the list, it was fantastic. But they've also seeded some actual original sketches in some of these, where the artist has done an actual sketch on the cover. So, not to say you should chase variants, but it's a nice little surprise for some people that can get these. Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if anything could be better, because everybody loves Batman and everybody loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So the Turtles come to Gotham. I didn't look real deep at what the storyline's going to be, because I think it's just going to be fun no matter what the story is. The Darkseid War is continuing on. The one-shots came out already, and most of them were, well, they were all really good. Basically, the Justice League characters have gotten new powers at the, spoilers, death of Darkseid. Shazam became the god of gods, Green Lantern became the god of light, Flash became the god of death, and then in this last one that we're waiting for this month is the Lex Luthor book, who now is the king of Apocalypse, which is what Darkseid used to be. So very interesting twists on all these characters, and these one-shots have been really good, giving you a whole story just about that character and explaining what happened to them, where it's going. Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. Issue 1 came out right before Thanksgiving. It was really sought after. People were really looking forward to it. The animated movie's out, has been out for a while, and people really loved the original Dark Knight. Second one, not so much, but there's a great fondness for Frank Miller's big story on Batman, and this is the 3rd version of it now, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It really took me back to the world of Dark Knight that I read back in college when it first came out. Everything was really good about it. I actually blew through what I thought was an 8-month supply in 1 week. So I have more on order. Issue 2's coming out near the end of December. This is one that's really good. If you have any inkling about it, please give it a shot. Superman American Alien is continuing. This is a story of basically Clark Kent growing up and trying to learn his powers, but also having to learn how to grow up. Learn what it's like to be an alien living in the middle of America during it feels like it's kind of set in the 50s with people scared of aliens, and all of a sudden, hearing things about the government doing bad things to alien, and him living a little bit in fear of being found out as an alien, as well as all of a sudden trying to figure out how to fly, because all of a sudden in the first issue it just had a case where he would float and he didn't know how to get back down, and also the fear of being found out. So this looks interesting. knowing not much more than what the covers show. The next one I think has him like it's a mug shot where he got into a fight and things like that. And can Superman really get into a fight? And how does that kind of stuff work out? So this one's been interesting. And then another neat one is Batman 66, which had a really fun run because it was definitely evoking the feel of the original TV show. They had a Batman meets Green Hornet, and now they're coming out with a Batman meets Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was a 60s spy show that I think we just had a movie a little bit ago. So they're doing that, which should be a lot of fun. And then also from DC is the Vertigo line. There's 4 more of the new Vertigo #1s coming. Sheriff of Babylon takes place in Iraq in 2003, and it has a former police officer being a contractor going out there to train the police, and it's finding all sorts of problems, corruption, and finding that there is a Sheriff of Babylon, someone who's kind of controlling things behind the scenes. The neat thing with this is it's written by Tom King, who was a CIA operations officer during that time. So while you're probably not going to see any classified information, it's at least being written by someone who kind of knows what was going on then. So the first issue was out, and it was very good. Great art. Mitch Gerads' art was really, really good. New Romancer is a new one coming out also. It's an internet dating app where a new programmer comes in and starts creating fake profiles because the app isn't doing real well, and accidentally unleashes the actual Lord Byron on the world. So it's basically online dating meets courtly love in a paranormal rom-com. So that's written by Peter Milligan, who's had a long run on doing fun stuff. Things like Ecstatics, a lot of Vertigo stuff. He did a lot of Hellblazer. So that one should be interesting. Lucifer is also coming out. Lucifer originally was out in the 90s. It spun out of Sandman, where basically Lucifer gave up hell and handed Sandman the key and walked away to walk Earth. And it had a real long run at Vertigo, and now there's a new TV show coming, basically based on the old show, and so they're doing a new book to kind of tie in with that. Just an interesting character, interesting look at a character who, it's Lucifer, and all his glory, and just wreaking havoc on Earth. And then the last one is Last Gang in Town, which is Simon Oliver and Rufus Dayglow doing a take on British gangs starting in the 70s, and there'd been it said there was a void of good gangs, and so these guys wanted to pull one big caper, and this is a kind of a story of their pulling this caper and the effects of that going into in the late 70s and early 80s. Coming from Image, we have some new stuff. Blackjack Ketchum. It's a supernatural Wild West story about a guy who was mistaken for a legendary outlaw and the things that he has to deal with in this world. Symmetry, which is a utopia where things aren't necessarily utopia. Violent, an ex-con and drug addict is trying to get his life back together, but someone threatens his daughter and he has to do some extraordinary things and dip back into the way his life used to be to take care of it. And Private Eye is an interesting book. It's a hardcover that was originally a webcomic. Brian K. Vaughan and Marcos Martin teamed up to do this webcomic that was hugely well received, lots of award nominations and things, and it's finally out in a hardcover that they didn't want to do but were convinced to help us, the store owners who have promoted their stuff. So they did a one printing of this hardcover that has been really sought out. Basically the idea of Private Eye is the cloud bursts and everybody's information and all their secrets are revealed to the whole world. So now everybody has to live with secret identities to protect themselves because people know everything about their real stories. They now have to put on a false face. And it's a story of a private eye, an unlicensed private eye having to deal in this world, kind of a little bit of a sci-fi thriller. IDW has some interesting stuff coming. There's one called The Eighth Seal. And one woman's nightmare bleeds into reality as she struggles to live in the political spotlight. So it's fun having these political books during political season when everybody's a little more heightened and aware. So this one could be very interesting. There's a new Judge Dredd book. There was the movie, there was a series long ago in England, and IDW is bringing the series back to the States. Star Trek Starfleet Academy is coming out, which is a new book exploring the life of characters learning to be starship captains, and those guys see them when they're young, when they're learning. And then Rocketeer at War, which is a new Rocketeer book, movie back in I think the 80s or 90s. Great series, Dave Stevens. They brought it back for a bunch of miniseries. And this is a new one that they're bringing back, basically set during World War II. and the Rocketeer character thwarting the Nazis. Now coming from Boom Studios, my good friends at Boom Studios, Jim Henson's Storyteller Dragons. They've done a couple Jim Henson books, basically just fantasy books, putting Jim Henson's name on it. They did one called Witches, this one's Dragons, and it's stories about dragons from all different walks of life, from different countries, myths and things like that. So it's neat, a Chinese dragon, and then a South American version of a dragon, different stories like that. Snowblind, which is a noir story set in Alaska. A kid finds out that the reason that they moved to Alaska is that dad is in the witness protection program. And in addition to that, he also finds out what exactly his dad did, and he knows. And dad isn't necessarily the good guy that he always thought. So this is neat set, in Alaska, in the, not the barren wasteland, but, it's a little secluded in how things are going to work out there. Also Venus, it's set in 2150. All the resources on Earth have been depleted. China has laid claim to Mars, so some explorers from America and other countries have to settle on Venus, and in adventure, finding what's going on there, the different creatures that live on Venus that we of course don't know about, but and how they have to deal with that. Dark Horse has some books. Mystery Girl. This is a girl who knows everything. She knows where your keys are. She knows just everything there is to know, except she doesn't know what happened to her for the last 10 years. So she's out trying to figure out what happened to her in a situation where she knows everything. Massive Ninth Wave is continuing on the story of the Massive, which is Brian Wood's story of kind of a post-apocalyptic boats that are out on the ocean and something terrible has happened and all the oceans rise because of a natural disaster, and the entire Massive story was the story of looking for their sister boat, and this is continuing on that story. And then there's a new King Conan, Wolves Beyond the Border, and Conan always does well, and this is a new King Conan series coming. Dynamite has a couple neat things. You have Doc Savage, Spider's Web. Doc Savage, Man of Bronze, classic 30s pulp character. They routinely have been doing series, and this is a new one of him. Seduction of the Innocent is a book set in the 1950s in the old EC Comics horror style, and it's kind of a true crime story. So that is fun. And then The Precinct, which is them getting back into their steampunk world. They've done a couple of those. They've done Steampunk Battlestar Galactica, and they also did one called Legendary, which was set steampunky. So this is a new one for them. And then the only other thing, my little editorial is pre-order. If there's something that I've talked about, something you hear about online that you're interested in, please let me know. With the Daredevil situation where I sold out of it on the day it came out, I don't plan to do that. That's never my hope. I want to have books for a long time. But I can't order, indiscriminately. I have to pick a number. And on this one, I ordered 30% more of how the last issue of the previous series sold. I thought that would be plenty, but I ran out right away. So please let me know if there is something that you want or are interested in. Most of my ordering is done by gut. I look at previous sales numbers, but just because a writer sold this many copies on his last book, it won't necessarily equate. Or even you have the same book with a new creative team, and I have to try to juggle and figure out how many to order. So any input is always good. So if I had more people telling me that they were interested in that one, I would have ordered more. So help me help you. I hear from a lot of people, we just always assume you'll have it on the shelf. And it's a goal, but I can't send them back if I'm off. So I have to rein it in a little bit and go with what I think. So that's my pitch to you. Please, if there's something you want, let me know. Because if you see something in the previews, if you've ever been in the previews magazine, it's a catalog. It's about 400 pages long. And I give them away, so please come in and grab one. But if you ever see anything in there, let me know. Let me know if there's something that you want. And I'll be happy to order it for you. So happy holidays from Pittsburgh Comics. Please come by. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff going on here. And this month I'm going to leave you with a preview of Spidey #1, a fun all-ages look back at the history of Spider-Man. Thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Peter Parker, and that spider? Totally radioactive. I thought my whole life changed in this moment. I was wrong. That radioactive bite gave me power. Great power. Power to let me do things I could never imagine. I made money, helped my family. I thought that's what the powers were for. I was wrong about that too.
Help! Stop that guy!
Good luck with that. I was wrong about a lot of things. This was the moment my whole life changed. After I lost my Uncle Ben, I realized the truth in what he used to always tell me. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Okay, amazing is probably a bit much. I mean, I'm just starting out. How about spectacular Spider-Man? Still too much? Maybe just Spider-Man. How about Spidey? Is this thing on? My job, keeping the city safe from... the Easter Bunny? No, the Easter Bunny doesn't rob banks. What's up, Doc?
Wrong rabbit, genius.
I just got punched by a rabbit. Awesome.
Hey, what are you...
Silly rabbit, bank robberies are for felons. Look, I've really enjoyed our time together, but I'm way late for class. Say cheese. That works too. So late, so stupid, so what? I fought a rabbit and I lived to tell the tale. I am invincible. I am totally busted. Principal Anderson. Bullet dodged. Okay, what time is it? History class. Not my favorite. And I didn't do the reading. But I vanquished a killer, possibly interdimensional, possibly cybernetic rabbit. All will be fine. All will be... dun dun dun.